So I'm going to jump right into this. I've got some new updates in the shop as well as some news. And also I have some things I want to talk about with the majority of you guys that are on my social media. Quickest way to get something out here. But first thing I want to kind of discuss is the responses I've been getting, and they've pretty much been the same consistent responses within the last few months regarding what I do and the work I do. And that response is, well, I never knew you could do that, or I never knew it would look this good. Or just on the lines of actually being able to do something that you didn't know I could do beforehand. And that's with people that I've known for a long time, people that haven't known me that I've met at shows and things like that, just talking to you. So I want to kind of address that real quick here first. So like for me, I'm the type of person that will just figure it out. If you don't know me, I've been painting for almost probably over 20 years now. I got into it really young. I started airbrushing first, so that's my main goal here, is to kind of break awareness on that, because there's a lot of people. I am from a small town, so that kind of goes with it, but there's a lot of people that just don't know what I do, and that's kind of my fault as well, because I kind of keep to myself. I don't really push myself as much as I should be when doing this type of work. I'm just in a small country town, and I live out in the country, so that's even harder. I'm not really in a big city, so kind of want to break awareness on that. But like I said, I'm the type of person that'll figure it out. I've been airbrushing for a very long time, painting cars for a very long time. I got my own shop here at my house, and I also do collision work full-time as a full-time job, pretty much. So I kind of burn the candle at both ends, if you will. So as far as knowing what I can and can't do, I'm just going to put this out there like this, is if you have something in your head that you know you want done, whether it's on your car or your motorcycle, or maybe you just want a panel done, maybe for your garage art, or maybe for your house, or whatever you want to put it, or maybe just an illustration, I can pretty much do it. I'm not going to kind of limit myself on that as far as the art side goes with airbrushing and doing graphics and things like that. As long as you are willing to work and willing to give me the time to do it, I can pretty much do whatever is thrown at me. So there's not really an issue there as far as what I can and can't do. It's more or less of what are you gonna willing to give me time-wise to be able to do something like that. And I'm pretty reasonable. If you know me, you know that I'm pretty well, will help you out as far as the pricing and stuff goes, but main thing I ask for is the time to be able to do it, because some of this stuff I know a lot of people don't understand what it takes to get it there, and it does take time, especially with airbrushing. If you want something from one off, it's one of the things I like doing the most is airbrushing. And since I do collision paint full time, I paint cars every day, I'm really not trying to do that at my home shop. I'm more or less trying to do the artwork part at home. I'm not really looking to do your restorations, full-on paint jobs, color changes, body work, things of that nature. I'm just not wanting to do that here, just because I don't really have the space for it, and especially with painting cars every day, I really don't want to come home and do that. So I know sometimes, depending on when you get me, what day or whatever, if I've worked a long day or whatnot, or I've had a bad day, I know my responses can be a little bit different here and there, but for the most part, that's what I'm trying to focus on at home, is my artwork. So airbrushing wise, like I said, there's really nothing that I'm gonna kind of hold myself to on doing here. As long as it's, like I said, give me the time. And I'm more than willing to work with you as far as what you need done and time frame wise, but don't come in here asking for something within a few days, because it's just not going to happen, especially by me. I'm one of those people that likes to enjoy what I do and enjoy what I put out there for everybody. So and that goes with time, so that's why I'm always emphasizing on time. because that's mainly what it takes. Usually, especially with airbrushing, you're really not spending that much material unless I'm doing like, painting it first, or doing, getting it ready for paint, prepping it and painting it, and then getting it ready for artwork, and then clearing it, all that. You're spending more money doing that and materials than you are if you would just bring me something that needs airbrush, and maybe I clear it or maybe I don't clear it. But airbrush wise, you're really not going to spend that much money in materials, just because I'm not spraying a big chunk of paint on a big panel. It's more or less, it's really, you might be 2 or 3 ounces on one color. It's really minimal on material uses with airbrush, and so you're not going to be worried about getting sunk in big time. It's more or less the labor end of it that's going to cost a lot, and depends on what you want. Like I said, I enjoy doing one-off pieces. I don't really do anything that, somebody brings me a picture and they're like, I want this exact picture. I usually won't touch it, just because I know more or less most of those people bring pictures that somebody's already done, so it's somebody's artwork already, so I will not copy that. But if you like something along that lines, one of the things I can do, and I usually do for a lot of people that want big murals, on whether it is a motorcycle car or an illustration types on a panel or anything like that, is I can actually go on my computer and I can actually draw you something up from scratch, or maybe you give me a couple of references to use. I've got a really cool computer system set up with a desktop and a Wacom tablet, and I've got some really nice software that I use that I can actually take whatever I draw and I can layer onto whatever you want. That way you can get an initial start of what it might or might not look like, and then we can go and we can sit down and kind of adjust it from there. So that's one of the services I do provide, is the design aspect of it, which I know a lot of artists, they will do a panel beforehand before they put it on your car or bike or whatever, but I think the computer is something that's not as set in stone, so it's something I can do really quickly as well, so you're not sunking a lot of time into it or a lot of time onto the project itself. I kind of pretty much air everything out before we even get to your car or your motorcycle or whatever you want done. And with that, I charge $25 an hour for just the design process, is what I call it. And that is something that it's not a finished piece. It's a very rough idea, just to get your points across and to show you something that it's going to get us. It's like a roadmap. It's going to get us to where we want to be. So don't be expecting it to be a full-on finished digital piece of art. Now, after we get it done on whatever I'm doing, if you want something that's digitally as well, I can go back through and I can finish it for you. But that, like I said, that charge is $25 an hour. And that's, like I said, a lot of people don't offer that, I don't think. A lot of people will do like test panels and things like that to kind of get their idea across or the graphic across that they want to put on your vehicle. But with me doing the computer side of things, I can do something really quick and change it. So if you don't like something, we can position it differently, or if you don't like it at all, we can scrap it and restart over without actually getting into a chunk of time on the project itself. So that's something that I offer. So if you need something just kind of roughly sketched up to get an idea of what you might or might not want, I'm willing to do that. You just gotta, kind of let me know that that is what you want before we start on the project. So rolling into that is, one of the new updates I'm gonna have is changing my pricing. I've done this I think this is like the second or third time that I've changed my pricing. Since I've been in this shop, my shop is at my house, so we've been here for roughly a little over 3 years already. So I've changed it quite a bit from being here, because I am starting to notice pricing changing constantly in materials, especially in the last 2.5, 3 years with COVID and everything going up in pricing. So that's why I've been kind of changing it, kind of doing it, trying to just fill things out, if you will, and trying to get it to where I am more or less not, having something and throwing a chunk of money at it, and then, whatever happens, happens. But I always try to cater to my customers as far as the financing part goes, and that kind of kills me as far as being a business owner sometimes. So I keep changing the way I want to do things to kind of find that sweet spot that's going to work for me and the shop that I have here. So with the pricing, already been over at the design, $25 an hour. I think it's pretty reasonable. You might have 4, 5, 6 hours in a drawing that you're not spending the full amount of time on the project itself, and that all gets rolled into the final bill. That's not really like an upfront cost unless you just want something that's design wise to just see. Then you'll obviously get charged with that before we start the project. And one of the big things I do is I think a lot of people should do this, especially if you're in this field, is a deposit of some kind. And I always cater to those people that, maybe they don't get paid really, might be a month before they get paid, or, their finances are a little bit different. Everybody's finances are different pretty much. So I try to help people out where I can with that. So I usually take a deposit of the materials first. That way it gets me rolling onto your project. And that's pretty much what I've been doing for years is, unless I really, really trust you and knowing that you're not going to kind of ghost me and leave me not paid or not talk to me again, I kind of stick to that method of I require a deposit for the materials. Now you might wonder how I figure that up. I figure materials based on the project. And that's one thing I'm going to emphasize here. Everybody's project is different. People, graphics on one thing might be cost different on graphics on another car or whatever. Airbrush work might be different on something than it is on something else. So everybody's project is different. I used to get a lot of people with my first price guide that I did with people asking me, well, why isn't my project the same amount as what Tommy's spent? Well, Tommy's wasn't as in depth as what you're wanting to go. You're wanting more detail, you're wanting more colors, more graphics, whatever you have it, and condition plays into that as well. So that's why I scratched that a long time ago. So everybody's project is different. You got to understand that. Coming in here, it's not going to be the same as anybody else's. There's very rarely where somebody brings me the exact same thing they want done on the exact same surface. So don't be expecting to go down the road and talk to somebody I've done years ago. And that's another thing I want to wrap up in here is last year's prices are not this year's prices. Like I mentioned before, materials have gone up a lot in the last 2.5 years. I mean, you're talking 30 to 40% as far as the paint side of stuff on the automotive. They've gone up a lot. So this is why I'm kind of changing my pricing again with this, is because I'm starting to notice it's fluctuating big time. And I'm the type of person that I like to use what I want to use. As you see behind me, I have a full House of Color mixing bank. So that is my primary. That's like my number one thing. If you know me, then you know that I love using House of Color stuff. I've been using it for years. Was able to get a mixing bank in my shop not too long ago. So that is my my primary paint that I use. And I get people all the time also that are wanting to bring in their own materials because whatever materials I'm using is too expensive. And I'm just going to tell you this right now. I've got to put my name on everything I do. If it's paint work, I pretty much guarantee it. If you're let me do it the way it needs to be done, I guarantee it as long as you own it. Meaning if something flakes off or something happens to the paint and it's not really sticking, then I pretty much do it for nothing at that point. I might ask you, depending on what the situation is, I might ask you to pay for materials again, but my labor is pretty much free. But that doesn't go for rock chips, accidents you might have in a car or bike or whatever. That does not go for that stuff. So if you're wanting to bring me whatever paint you bought, I'm pretty much going to tell you no, just because I have to guarantee my work. So don't go run into AutoZone or O'Reilly's or anything like that and go and buy their cheapest stuff you can find on the counter, because I'm going to tell you no, and you're going to have to take that stuff back, and hopefully you haven't opened it to where you can't take that back. So this all rolls into the pricing thing. And another update I have is, along with using the House of Color stuff, I'm going to be wrapping into my shop another paint line. I'm not going to really go too much in depth with it, but like I said, I'm the type of person that wants to put on quality stuff, and I don't want to cheap out on anything. I've done that stuff in the past. I've cheaped out when I first started getting into this paint stuff, and it's always pretty much screwed me over. So I don't use anything that I don't trust. And this will also go into the pricing, because there are two different pricings for the House of Color and this other brand. And the other brand is going to be Orion Automotive Finishes. I've used a little bit of the last company that they had. I mean, it's still there, but she has gone on to doing Orion, and I've been watching a lot of artists use it, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. And for me personally, I want to have the most wide variety of colors that I can possibly have, especially when I'm airbrushing or doing graphics. I don't want to really limit myself. House of Color provides me pretty much, I can make any color that I want to pretty much, but I like having as much resources as I possibly can. So I'm going to be rolling that into the shop here shortly. Like I said, I've liked what they are making and what they're doing over there. So, and a lot of artists, I've seen their work, and a lot of the colors are really, really bright and vivid, and that's what I like, especially when I'm painting stuff that's crazy like I do, airbrushing, one-off pictures, and using color. That's just what I like to do. So I think if I can fuse the two together, and just do what I want to with them, it's going to bring more possibilities for you as a customer. So be looking for that. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to have a full mixing bank in here with their colors. I'm just going to be buying stuff as I go, trying it out, things like that. But I don't think I'm going to have any issues with it, because, like I said, I've been watching them for over a year, and watching people use their stuff. I've seen some stuff in person, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. So I'm going to fuse that together with the House of Color bank that I already have and the paints that I already use. And mainly for the airbrush side of it, like I said, I used a lot of House of Color, which is a solvent base, so they're solvent as well. I do use Createx at sometimes, which is a water-based paint when I airbrush, just to make some colors that I want to, adding some layers in there that is needed. I just like to have as many possibilities as I can when I'm creating something. I don't want to limit myself at all. So that is why I'm bringing them on board as far as what I'm going to be using in here. Like I said, I've used the last company that she was a part of, and I really liked it. That's what my neon is actually painted most in, is a sublime green, and then some of the other colors are House of Color colors on top of that, and their clear coat is what I use to clear the whole car. So you can, if you know my neon, you know what it looks like in person. It's slick as shit, and it looks really good. Even though I'm going to be repainting it here soon with House of Color, because I just did my engine bay. But as far as right now, that is mainly shot in with the older company that she was a part of. So I think it's going to work really well, and I'm excited to do it. Now, obviously, like I said, the pricing is going to be different as far as House of Color and hers. So if you're wanting something that's going to be, you know, I haven't really dug too much research into it, but I know certain things a little bit cheaper than what I can get with House of Color. So if you're one of those people that still want something really, really unique and one-off, and maybe you just don't have the budget to be spending as far as material-wise goes with House of Color, then that's something I can wrap into your project as well as, and that's what is going to make me a little bit more versatile as far as what I charge people on the material side of it and what type of customers I can actually bring. Because like I mentioned before, I'm in a small town, I'm born and raised here, and I want to be able to provide for everybody that I can. If you want your bike done, if you want a panel, whatever, like I said before, I want to be your go-to guy and doing that. So with me changing my pricing up, it's going to open the door. I'm hoping it's going to open the door up to a lot of those people that, you know, they might not be able to afford a lot, but they can afford what I'm charging, and I can bring more people in my door because that is the name of the game for me. Since I work full time, still painting cars, I can help people out as far as that goes, as long as I'm not taking money out of my pocket to pay for your project. So with this new pricing I'm going to announce here is going to change all of that for me, because one day I want to be out here full time and I want to do nothing but art. That's my end goal is, you know, whether it's next week or 5-10 years from now, that is my end goal, is to be out here full time and just airbrushing my little butt off and, you know, and doing things the way they should be done and giving people a good quality paint job. So my new pricing, let's get on to that. So I have thought about this for a long time, and it's going to drastically change, and I believe it's going to be for a good reason. Like I said, to bring more people in here, to kind of put me out there more. Obviously, if things started to progress and I start to get more busy, then obviously I'm going to have to change my pricing again. But this is probably the lowest it has ever been, and that's going to be just an hourly straight rate. I'm going to do $70 an hour, and then materials are not included in top of that. So let me repeat that again. It's $70 an hour, not materials. Materials are not included into that. $70 an hour. Materials are going to be added at the end of that. So that's going to help bring more people in, just because in my area, you know, I'm not on the West Coast. I'm not anywhere where living is really outrageous, but it is still kind of expensive. So I think that's going to be a more than reasonable price for people to come in here and get more art done. That is the end goal, is to get more art on motorcycles, do more panels, do more cars, trucks, whatever have you. If paint can stick to it, I will paint it. I've done a lot of different stuff, weird stuff. I'm kind of a weird guy to begin with, so like I like doing those weird things. So that is the new pricing for my home shop. Now, don't run to me saying, hey, I've got a fender that needs painted or anything like that, then match the door, paint the bumper. I'm not doing that stuff here. It is mainly artwork. So for $70 an hour, materials are going to be added on top of that, whatever it may be. Deposit up front for the materials, and obviously I will give that to you as a rough estimate. And that's the thing. Another thing is, it's an estimate, people. It's not set in stone. I am not some wizard. None of us are. We can't tell you exactly what it's going to be out the door without actually touching whatever it is you want done. So it is an estimate. And like I said, I'm really, really good at helping people out as far as the finances part goes. So if I feel like I have worked on your project for 5 hours and not got anywhere, then I'm obviously not going to charge you for that 5 hours, because that's just the type of person I am. I want to do good stuff. I want the time to be able to do good stuff. I want to put good quality artwork out there. So that is my end goal for this shop. So with those, you got the new paint line coming in, you got the new pricing. Um, Now you kind of know what I'm expecting as far as what I want to do out here. You know the materials that I use, and just be respectful. I've had a lot of bad things happen as far as people not giving me the time of day to respond back to them and getting mad at me for not responding back to them. But I'm gonna tell you this right now: if I'm out here working in the shop, and I don't have my doors open or anything like that, I don't get signal. So if you DM me, if you message me on Facebook, you text me, you call me, anything like that, and I don't respond quickly, it's probably because I'm not near my phone. That's just it. Like, especially when I'm out here, this shop blocks all my signal. So just be mindful that, hey, leave me a message, kind of brief answer of what you want done, and I will get back to you when I can. I constantly get calls, messages, and things like that, so you're not the only person I'm dealing with. So just be respectful of my time, because when I have your stuff in here, I'm going to be respectful of your time and help you out as much as I can. So we got like I said, we got the new paint, kind of switching it up a little bit with the paints, keeping the same one I have, but adding something new pricing. Materials are not included in that price, and you kind of got a little bit of a taste of what I do and what I can provide. I don't limit myself, so don't hesitate on contacting me and asking me if I can do something, because 9 times out of 10 I'm going to say yes or no anyways. So it's a 50-50 shot. So just go ahead and message me, and I will give you a straight up answer. I don't like beating around the bush. And if you're bringing me something that has to get torn apart, like let's say a helmet or motorcycle or golf cart or maybe a car or truck you want graphics on, you have to let me do what I need to do. That is the last thing I want to touch on here. I do not tape anything up. I take door handles out, mirrors. I take everything fully apart. So like a helmet, for instance, be prepared. If you have a brand new helmet or a used helmet you want custom painted, be prepared to buy new seals, because those seals are glued on there. They have to be cut off. It's pretty nasty work. So be prepared to buy new seals, because I tear down everything. I will not tape something up. If you bring me something and say, hey, I want to save a couple hours on R&I or anything like that, and I would just want you to tape it up and paint it, I'm not going to do it. Plain and simple. I don't care if I'm just doing artwork on it or putting graphics on it and you're giving to somebody else to clear it or base it or whatever. I'm not going to do it. And as far as like motorcycles, golf carts, anything that's big that needs torn down to get the pieces off of it, I will not do the R&Is on those. I expect you as a customer to have that done already, whether you do it yourself and bring the pieces to me or you have somebody else do it. I will not do motorcycles and golf carts. Number one reason is I do not have the space for it here in my shop. I don't have room to be having 2 or 3 bikes in here torn apart and then having to paint other stuff and those at the same time. I just don't have room for it right now. Now, not going to say that might not change down the road as far as when I build a bigger shop. If I get to that point and need a bigger shop, then I might be able to bring that stuff in here and do all the R&Is, but just expect me to say it has to be torn down, because I will not do anything that's not torn down and to get painted. And if you're doing like a car, you want me to airbrush something on your car, truck, or whatever, graphics, whatever may have you, I will obviously tear those down and put it back together, but I will not tape anything up. Same thing like I said on the helmet, I will not tape anything up. Things have to be taken apart for a reason, to get a better outcome, for the paint to last longer and the job to look better. If I'm putting my name on it, I am doing it my way. I don't care what Jimmy down the street told you. I really don't care. If you don't want me to do that and you're not willing to pay that time for me to do that, then to be honest with you, I don't want to do it. So just have that in mind before you contact me as well. And I'm not going to build your build for you. What I mean by that is, if you're bringing me something that is like something you want to build, but it needs painted, and you want to get it painted first, and everything torn apart and painted, whether it be, you know, changing color, putting graphics on it, or airbrushing, or whatever it may have you. I am not going to be ordering parts for you. I'm not going to be, you know, taking my time to make sure things are brand new on your vehicle. I require that you do all that work. I am just a paint shop. That is the only thing that I am willing to do in here is the paint shop. I'm not a builder. I'm not a restorer. I'm not anything along those lines. So just be prepared. If you want to bring me new parts that you want painted to put on your vehicle or your bike or whatever, so be it. I will paint those and then give them to you. And then either if I can do it, I will. Or if it's something that needs to be done by somebody else, I'm going to tell you that. Or if you want to try to do it, go for it. But I will not build your build for you. I've done my own stuff. You start racking a lot of money in that type of thing. Vehicles start sitting around for a lot longer, and I do not have the space for that. Now, I don't charge storage as well, so don't try to come in here thinking it's going to sit here for months on end, because I'm going to probably tell you to come get it, especially if I'm busy with somebody else's project, because I just don't have the room for it. So just be mindful of that. You know, I respect everybody's vehicle or project or whatever I'm doing in here, so I just expect you to respect me, and knowing that, you know, I don't have some multi-million-dollar facility that I can just sit your stuff in the corner for months until you order the parts for it. You're pretty much, once it gets painted, I expect it to be picked up within a reasonable amount of time. I'm not somebody that's going to put a lien on your car unless it's been there for a long time. I'm just not like that. So just respect my time, and I'll respect yours and what I have to do, because like I said, you're not the only person that I'm doing work for. So just be mindful of that and respectful, and everything will go smoothly. And like I said, I'm not somebody that's going to beat around the bush to you. I'm going to tell you like it is. So just don't take any hard feelings for it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Like, that's all I wanted to pretty much get out there in this video, is kind of the paint change, the price change, what to expect, and just some things I've ran into in the past that I've had issues with that I need to clear up. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, just DM me. My easiest way of form of contact is obviously if you got me on social media, just send me a message. My email is jedw8759@gmail.com. If you really want to send me an email, that's another way of contacting me. I do have a YouTube channel and Instagram, MR.J at MR.J_auto art. That is both my Instagram and my YouTube channel that I have. It's kind of more of the YouTube channel is more for people to learn from it more than anything. I've got a lot of information on those with videos of things I've done in the past, and I'm going to continue to do those. So if you want to kind of dip into what I do and see what it takes to do some of this stuff, go to my YouTube channel, which is at MR.J_auto art. So that's it, guys. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want me to kind of give you a rough estimate, DM me, email me, or message me somehow on social media, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.